In this video, I'll be talking about the history and evolution of checkers and how it became the game we all know and enjoy today. I'll also discuss checkers tournaments, and I think you'll find some of the information I'll be sharing is pretty surprising. There might be others watching this video who have attended checkers tournaments, and I'd love to hear their feedback. But before I go into talking about the tournaments, let's talk about checkers history. Please keep in mind this will be very high level, and I'll focus primarily on key landmark dates and events. It's difficult to pinpoint the origins of checkers. There is some evidence of hieroglyphics in ancient Egypt. We know the game was played in some capacity dating back to at least 3000 BC. With the modern version, the game we all know today probably came to be during the 12th century in France. There's a misconception that checkers was created as a simpler version of chess. Both games, as well as their origins, are in fact very different. The first English book, William Payne's Guide to the Game of Draughts, was published in 1756. No, I don't have the book, but I believe you can access it online. In the 19th century, more books were published in both the UK and US, with Scotland leading the way in both literature and top-level players. The checkers these people played is what every person today grew up playing. It's called Go As You Please or Unrestricted checkers. The game begins with 12 pieces on each side, and the first person, whoever has the red pieces, controls where to move first. So, how does it determine who goes first? Well, what you would do is you take one piece on each side, and then you would decide which piece you'd like to take, the left hand or the right hand. Let's choose the right hand, and there you go. So now you would play first here, and you would go here probably first because this is the best move theoretically on the board. This go as you please or unrestricted style prevailed in serious play until about the turn of the 20th century. The reason for its decline is really because of repetition. Players would almost exclusively start the game this way and oftentimes play the same line over and over and over again to avoid losing. This style is still played occasionally today in serious play, and there is a world champion still crowned, but most tournaments are not in this style at all. So what happened next? Well, something called two-move restriction was born. It's exactly what it sounds like. The first two moves of the board were predetermined from a set of cards like this. Players agreed on 43 different opening combinations. So instead of just moving here and maybe the best reply for white, as they wouldn't go as you please, players were forced to learn new ways to open up the game that were a little bit more unorthodox. Once an opening is selected from the deck of cards, the players would play two games on it. That way, if the opening is unbalanced, then there is an opportunity to play both sides of it. This two-move style was popular for about 20 years in the US and lasted even longer overseas. Once again, however, once new lines of play were standardized, many draws soon followed. There are no more two-move tournaments played today, and there is not a two-move world champion. At about the same time period, players explored what we call Elevenman ballot. This is the removal of one piece from each side of the board, and then like two-move, one piece is then moved. This can be done with, again, a deck of cards, and this particular deck of cards is very versatile as it's both a two-move and an 11-man ballot deck. There are more than 3,000 different opening combinations, with between 2,100 and 2,200 being playable. There really isn't any literature, so it's pure brute visualization. The style unfortunately never saw great popularity, although there are still occasional tournaments, and we do crown a world champion. Once two-move went by the wayside, a new form of checkers was created. As you may have guessed from the evolution, this style is called Threemove, and really came to the forefront in the 1930s, and remains the most popular form of tournament checkers today. There are 302 total combinations to begin the game, and after cutting out the duplicates and pure losses, you're left with 174. Of those 174, it's determined that 156 are playable. So how do you play Threemove? First, you have a deck of cards with all 156 openings. A player will select the first card, so say you want to select this card, and on this card it says play K first. So as you can see, there's an alphabetical alignment assigned to each opening, and then for the second card you would select, and then we would play opening K here. So in this example, K is 1116, 2117, and 913, and then the game would begin. You always play both sides of the opening, so first you would play the red side, and then the next game I would play the red side of the same opening. This style determines the best all-around player and is considered the heavyweight of world champions. Becoming more familiar with Threemove will make it for an easier transition to tournament play. If you've never played Threemove or even heard of it, tournaments can be very daunting. Tournaments are a great way to play some good competition and connect with other serious players. Most tournaments are played using the Swiss format or variations of round robins. Long gone are the days of single elimination or double knockout tournaments. Some tournaments require you to record your games. I think it's a good habit to get into recording your games at any tournament so you can go back and analyze them and continue to improve. You can find tournaments in your area by visiting the World Checkers and Drafts Federation website or the North Carolina Checkers Association website. I really only scratched the surface of checkers history. I didn't mention any of the famous players or famous positions, and I'm happy to talk about both in future videos. I did discuss the go as you please unrestricted style, 2-move and 11-man ballot, 3-move restriction, and even tournaments and what they look like and recording games. If you have attended a checkers tournament, I'd love to hear your feedback and to share your experiences with others. A couple years ago, I created a video of a tournament game I played against a state champion. I go over that game in full and provide some analysis along the way. So, thank you, as always, for watching.